Hey guys, Ashleen here. Today I have a very fun war recap to share with you all. Red Elite just had a very interesting war, and dare I say it might have been our most gratifying win of all time. So you can see here our most recent war was a 40 versus 40 versus, I don't even know, embarrassingly enough, if they're Japanese or Chinese. They are Chinese here, and you can see both level 7 war clans here. They have 83 war wins, which doesn't really mean much. We have 113, but if you want to look at this big mismatch here, basically our town halls are similar strength. They had a little bit higher walls and heroes than we did at Town Hall 10, but really where the big mismatch was is at Town Hall 9s. We had, I believe, 11 here, because Skeeto is our first, he's a 9.5, so technically we do have 3 9.5s in Skeeto, Jackson, Frosty, but then from Paul Morphy down are all Town Hall 9s. You can see they weren't able to 3-star Sean, which was part of the difference in this war. And on their side, you can see they have about 15 or 16 totally max bases, and then as we come down here, you'll notice that we had a very bad mismatch because their first Town Hall 9 isn't all the way down here until number 38. So they only had 3 Town Hall 9s to our 11 or so, depending if you want to count the 9.5s. But either way, it was a huge mismatch, considering they outweighed us at the top as well. And we had all 80 attacks in, and it really came down to the last few minutes of the war. It was one of those wars where everybody was online at the end, and it was just absolutely crazy. So we ended up pulling it off. We had a big come from behind victory, as they were, because our hours are so different, we're mostly US and Western based for the most part, but we do have a little, quite a few members, about 10 or so, that are in the East. But either way, we had a big come from behind victory, and it was really awesome. So I do want to share the entire war highlights. Obviously, I'm not going to play every replay, but it will be a little bit of a longer episode. So I do want to go ahead and start out by focusing a little shout out to the enemy clan, because they did have a nice 2-star attack on yours truly, and I did want to cover that first. So let's go ahead and look at myself and go ahead and show their replay. Now I did have 1 or 2 defense. I think I had 1 defense and 1 star against my base, and then they were able to 2-star, and it was a really nice way that they did it here. If you take a look at the army, it's a 4, I believe it's a 5 golem. I think they have 1 in the clan castle, but let's anyway watch and go ahead and see how Wentium here went ahead and got the 2 stars against my base. Now a lot of their attackers use this strategy, and that is using a golem as well as a few wizards and a wall breaker or 2, or in this case maybe 9, in order to go ahead and take away a lot of percentage points, some of the point damage defenses, and also most importantly lure the clan castle. So it's actually going to open up this whole northwest side of the base here. The golem's going to go ahead and head into that compartment, and unfortunately for him all the wizards died, but he's actually going to be able to lure the clan castle. So like I was saying, a lot of these attackers use this method of a golem and a few wizards to go ahead and take out about 10% of the base, as you can see here, and at the same time lure the clan castle. Now in my clan castle I had a dragon, a few minions, I think a barbarian or 2, and a balloon, and he went ahead and used a barbarian to go ahead and lure it. We're going to go ahead and speed off through there, but you're going to see he's going to get that dragon out into the corner in the northeast side of the base, and that's going to be really beneficial. He's going to go ahead and drop that golem there. So he's going to the dragon's going to lock onto the golem, and then he's going to drop the queen and a few wizards, take out that dragon, and from here on out, it's already at 17%, nearing 20% on this attack. There was indeed a golem in the clan castle there. He's going to drop that jump spell, leading the troops, funneling the troops perfectly right into that town hall. And because he hit from 3 o'clock as well with a P.E.K.K.A. and a wizard and a golem over there, that's really going to make sure he gets more than 50%, in fact quite a bit more. So this is actually a really nice attack against a base like this. Obviously it's not a 3-star attempt, but it can be a tricky base to even 2-star for attackers who don't plan well. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward here, as I do have a lot of replays I want to get to, so I won't be covering every little second of every attack. But you can see he didn't even use the queen ability. I think he used the queen ability at the very end there, but he could have gotten a higher percentage point, so it was indeed a very impressive victory. Now I want to go ahead, and before I get to the normal raids, I do want to cover one of my raids. You might have noticed I had 2 1-star attacks. Well, that's because at that point in the war, I was holding back my attacks, and we, let's see, attacked number 10. So I was holding back my attempts, and we already had everything 2-starred for Town Hall 10s and everything 3-starred for Town Hall 9s. So what happened was I had to attempt 3-star attacks on both of my attacks. You can see I failed on both, and but we did have a few 3-star hits, for Brandon C being one of them, and I will cover some of those in this video and some of them in a video tomorrow, I think. So this is the base I attacked. Pretty popular design, not always the storage units all in the center there, but sometimes they just have some mines in the center, some elixir in the center. But either way, I was trying kind of a queen walk type strategy. Now the strategy goals behind this attack is for my queen to go ahead and get the enemy queen, and for my king, I'm going to deploy him up north, and he's going to go ahead and trigger the clan castle and take out the air defense. Now, it's important to note that attacks like this only work if you're going to use a barbarian king to trigger the air defense on a 3-star, trigger the clan castle on a 3-star bid. You have to know there's a lava hound in the clan castle, otherwise it's not going to work. If there's a dragon, for example, that dragon's going to go ahead and take out all your balloons in the second portion of the raid. So the queen is still alive. She's taken out the opposing queen at this point, and I snuck some wall breakers in there. So I used the rage kind of early. I just wanted to make sure that the barbarians as well as the king obviously were definitely going to get to that air defense. And then immediately I started the phase of the attack. So at this point things are looking pretty good. My goals are down. I have 2 air defenses down, and I kind of use like an old-fashioned balloonian minus the minions obviously deployment on these balloons. So instead of clumping them in groups of 2 and 3 like a traditional GoLava attack, I kind of just spread them out all at the same time as fast as I could. Then I used those 2 freeze spells, and then I used a haste and a rage right in the center. So things are looking really, really good right now, and honestly in my mind right now, I'm like, yes, I pulled it off. I talked through this attack for so long, about 45 minutes to an hour beforehand, talked through every step with Bob, who's one of our better attackers. And we planned this out, every little step of it, but look what happened. None of my lava hounds exploded. It was almost too efficient of an attack. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward because it's kind of sad actually at this point. The opposing lava hound is still up. Eventually he pops, and I just don't have nearly enough time with my 1 lava hound still alive, 2 lava hounds still alive, excuse me, to pull off the 3-star attack. So maybe in retrospect, I should have, I don't even know. Maybe I shouldn't have brought the 2 freeze spells. Maybe I should have brought 1 less lava hound. I don't even know. I needed the freeze spells. I needed those. So maybe 1 less rage. I don't even know. I guess the crux would be probably to limit it to 3 lava hounds in hopes that all 3 of them would pop. And maybe I would have gotten it that way. I don't know. Go ahead and leave your feedback if you have some suggestions on that. But I was pretty pumped, and then I was pretty frustrated right afterwards. So let's go ahead and watch the next replay. So I did want to highlight some Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 9 attacks, and basically I'm going to pick out some of not only the attacks that won us the entire match, but also attacks that are against really popular base designs, because I know that's what you guys really come here for a lot of you guys. Coming when you see a base in your own clan war, you check the channel oftentimes. So I'm going to bring some of the most popular base designs and how our attackers hit them. This one's by Geppetto, and this is a really, really popular design in the game right now. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it in your own clan wars, or even if trophy pushing some of the Town Hall 10s out there. And this is a real tried and true way to hit this base. If you come in through as you can see, Geppetto coming in through the southwest here, and a nice spread of golems, and you can see he brought 6 golems, which is a lot of firepower, but that's what you need against a base like this, because generally speaking, against these bases that have a high concentration of defensive units all together like this, you really need to make sure you have a lot of of meat to your attack, a lot of muscle, if you will. So basically, you want to have a lot of high hit points on the board to match all those high defensive concentration, because there's a lot of firepower coming down on Geppetto's army right now. And you can see in the surrounding units, all those little compartments around the center there's just storages and builder huts and maybe a couple mortars, but that's about it. And actually, all 4 mortars are in the side units, and that's actually a pretty good defensive strategy to keep the mortars separate. That way they can hammer an attacker if they use GoWiWi, for example, against this type of base. I prefer just bringing a lot of firepower and heading right in there, and you can see it was a very convincing attack, a convincing victory here by Geppetto, over 70%, and I think he gets to 80%. But we're going to go ahead and end it there. As I have mentioned a few times now, I have a lot of replays to bring you guys from this war. It was such a fun war. This attack by Maverick, I helped Maverick plan. I'm sure you guys are the same way as we are, but sometimes, especially in close wars, you really talk out these attacks, really try to nail them as much as possible, get them down, using Skitch or third-party apps to go ahead and write on the screen. I use Bindle myself, and I go ahead and screenshot it and share. But this is kind of an odd base design. I haven't seen this base design exactly like this ever before, but there are some snipes available. That's the first thing you look at. Then the second thing you look at is, or you think about rather, is how to funnel the troops into the center of the base while still getting the percentage you need to get the 2-star attack. So my idea was, and Maverick really pulled it off and added a few things to himself. First off, we knew there was a hound and a balloon in the lava lava castle. That's interesting, Ash. In the clan castle. So what he wanted to do was lure that lava hound, but keep the balloon in there to deal with later on, because obviously it's much easier to kill the lava hound alone without the balloon. It only takes 3 wizards and a couple archers to do so. So he's going to use a balloon to lure. Anyway, let's go ahead and play, and I'll talk you through the thought process on the whole attack as we watch. So using a balloon rather than a hog is only going to lure the hound out, not the balloon. If you used a hog, the balloon and the lava hound would come out. He's going to drop the anchor over there, which is 1 solitary archer all by herself in the corner. And then he's going to use some wizards to kill the lava hound. And then let's talk about the golem, the army composition here. I'm going to go ahead and go normal time here. So we have 5 golems on this attack, 1 P.E.K.K.A. and 16 wizards. I really like this army composition, and I really like the 3 jump spells. So we planned this out, so we're going to attack into the western compartment here using all 3 of our jump spells. And then we're going to deploy 1 golem way up north there near that dark elixir storage. And that's primarily just going to get percentage points on this raid, just to ensure we had over 50%. So you can see here 1 archer just going at it on that dark elixir, and here comes that golem, and he's going to deploy just 3 or 4 wizards. I think 3, yep, just 3 wizards there. You don't need to overdo it. They're going to use that golem as cover, and there's not too many defensive units there, so the golem's going to stay alive actually almost the entire raid up until the end. Now this is how we engage the base. Really took advantage of these jump spells, make sure we can access 2 compartments with each jump spell, but we don't want to overdo it and access 3 compartments. That would be a mistake that some attackers might make here, and that would be to drop the jump spells, say, right over those air defenses, for example, and that would cause all the golems to go into the other compartments instead of the center. So funneling for a base design like this is really the most important thing for any ground attack. Make sure you funnel your troops into the center compartment. Don't overextend those jump spell drops. So you can see here, he uses the Rage right away, and he sits on the Freeze spell. We planned this out as well, to sit on the Freeze spell so you can get the Archer Queen and that Inferno Tower. You can see he just barely missed the Archer Queen there, but at this point it doesn't even matter. He had over the 50%, and he hasn't even used the Royal Cloak ability yet, or any of his sniping team, so it's going to be a very convincing victory again, over 70%. We're going to go ahead and end it there, but that was just the thought process behind hitting a base like that. Let's go ahead and cover, let's see here. You know what, let's cover a couple Town Hall 9 attacks to end this raid. We'll do one of the 3 stars. I do want to bring one of the 3 stars in an episode all by itself coming up probably tomorrow. And the reason for that being is we want to go ahead and it's a really popular base design, one of the 3-star attacks. So I want to bring it to you how to 2-star and how to 3-star if you see it in your wars. But this is one of our clutch victories that helped us win the match here. We had to end up 3-starring, I think, 4 or 5 Town Hall 10s, and we had a lot of failed, as you can see by my attempts as well. But this is Brandon's 3-star hit. You can see Brandon on one of my expert interview series, and he's one of our best 3-star attackers, and you can see how he plans out his raids, and that's actually in my first expert interview series. So go ahead and check that video out if you want to see the thought process that goes behind an attack like this. So you can see enters the base from the south there, pretty traditional army composition for a GoLava attack with 2 golems, heroes entering towards the queen. Hopefully he's going to take out at least the clan castle and air defense there, as well as the queen, and maybe even the inferno tower. And when he locks onto that inferno tower with the queen, you know the raid is in the bag at this point, because that lava hound is just following the golems around, and the queen's able to take out a lot of defensive units. So he comes in with the air portion from the eastern, from around 3 o'clock on the base, and it's kind of going to just extend the whole side of the base, just making a big sweeping motion. Use that freeze spell, perfect timing on the freeze and the rage spell here. The rage dropped right there in that last heavy defensive concentrated area, and then he sneaks in a giant and a balloon to try to distract that archer tower and the wizard tower as much as possible there, and that's going to be it. That was one of our big 3-star attacks. Really lean heavily on our 3-star attackers in wars like this. Like I said, we definitely don't get them all, so I don't want to give the impression that these attacks are easy by any stretch. In fact, Brandon did fail his other attack, but you can just see that these are the type of attacks that really pull off the victory in the end. Now, I do want to end with a couple Town Hall 9 attacks that were really nice as well. So our Town Hall 9 attackers, they had a trouble this war, obviously, because they were all forced to attack Town Hall 10s, except for a couple, obviously, here at the bottom. And this is one of the nice cleanup raids of the attack. And the reason I wanted to stress this a cleanup raid is because Paul Morphy, while triggering the clan castle, because of the previous 2 raids, we had 2 2-star attacks on this base before this 3-star attack, and he was able to identify not only where the giant bombs were, because they were also hog attacks, but also where the skeleton traps were that were on the outside of the base. So triggering those skeleton traps, especially in a hog raid, for all of you guys who know how difficult it can be to deal with both giant bombs, archer queen, and all the hogs in a raid like this, taking care of those skeleton traps right off the bat is actually a big help. So he brings a lot of wizards on this attack, I think 11 wizards, as well as his king and the queen entering in from 3 o'clock again, and he's going to try to take out, obviously, the enemy queen here, and hopefully trigger some of those giant bombs in the process. You can see the golem and the king are going to engage that queen and trigger one of the double giant bomb areas. So at this point in the raid, if you're keeping track at home, we have one double giant bomb area off the map, and the skeletons, 2 skeleton traps off the map. So at this point, Paul is looking really good. Extra bonus points to anybody who can comment in this video and tell me who Paul Morphy is or was in real life. So you can see here he comes in with the hogs through the north. He started with the northeast and then staggered him in the northwest as well. He's going to go ahead and use his heal spells really strategically here, and help keep those hogs alive, as his queen is the only, and a golemite is the only remaining unit from the first phase of the attack. So it's all going to come down to the hogs here and a few wizards for cleanup. And luckily he's able to keep them up, because at this point there are no giant bombs left on the map. He was able to take them all out with the first phase and through entering up in the northwest there. And he has that last heal spell that he's going to use, and things are all of a sudden looking really good. A little shaky at first, it looked like, when the hogs were under all that firepower, but he pulled off the nice 3-star attack. And as I said before, attacks like this were really critical for our victory on this war. I gotta say hats off to the whole clan on this war. I'm sure you guys can tell I'm really pumped about it, because it's not every day. It's kind of demoralizing. I'm sure you guys can relate. Everybody has mismatches. I'm not complaining about that per se. I'm just saying that sometimes it can be demoralizing, when you're matched with a clan that's so much heavier than yours, and and you're just like, oh, geez, is it even worth it? Obviously, we always give it a shot in Red Elite, but sometimes you question if is it even worth it, and this time it definitely was. Joy, a great attacker. Joy is really, really good, and you will want to note, guys, she only has level 21 combined heroes, so level 10 king and a level 11 queen, and she makes it look pretty easy here. She's going to go ahead and use another hog attack here, so both of the Town Hall 9 attacks will be hog attacks. She's going to lure the Lava Hound and just use a very nice archer and healer combination there, and they're just going to stay there over at 3 o'clock on the base in the far corner, and she's able to enter the base not even having to deal with the clan castle, and it only took her, what, about 15 or so troop space, maybe slightly more, but ballpark, that was not a big cost for taking out the entire clan castle throughout the entire raid, basically. So here you come here with the coming from 9 o'clock here with the heroes. You can see, even though she has the little baby heroes, if you will, they actually do a pretty good job getting the work done, and she drops the hogs from the bottom of the map this time, and just pay attention to these heal spells. They basically hit the hogs at the most critical points of the attack. You can see the second heal spell placed in kind of a counterclockwise fashion, and the hogs are going to do basically all the heavy lifting in this attack. That third heal spell dropped perfectly in the north there. All the hogs still alive. Not the best anti-hog base, but this is exactly what you guys need to do in your own raids. I had a video, I think, not yesterday, but the day before, covering when to use GoHo and when to use GoLaLoon at Town Hall 9, and I think that might benefit a lot of you guys, because this is a type of attack that you can see this base and it just screams hog attack, and she did a really nice job pulling it off. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a rather long one, and also I'm curious on that. Do you guys like longer war recaps, or do you like shorter strategic videos, you know, strategic tutorials, stuff like that, the kind of stuff that I normally bring you guys? And so I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Do you want to see more longer recaps or not? And as always, guys, thanks so much for tuning in and sharing with your clanmates. It means a lot. It helps the channel grow, and I certainly appreciate it. And as always, take care, guys.